this regular meeting of the Littleton City Council to order. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Schlachter,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryden,
Present.
Councilmember Barr,
Here.
Councilmember Grove. Here. Councilmember Driscoll,
Here.
Councilmember Milliman.
Yes, here.
Councilmember Valdez.
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, council, next order of business is the approval of the agenda. Everyone's had a chance to review the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? Without objection, it is approved. Up next, item 4, comments and reports. Turn it over to the acting city manager.
So, Mayor, other than acknowledging that I am not Jim Becklenburg, I have no comments this evening.
Thank you. City attorney?
Just a couple reminder, Boards and Commission dinner is on Thursday over at the museum. We're monitoring the weather to see if an outdoor affair will be a good idea or not, and we should have probably communication to you all by 2 o'clock tomorrow. Second thing, and this would be for some of our city council members that use Twitter all the time, like Councilmember Valdez, I'm sure. But the governor yesterday afternoon signed a copy of House Bill 23-1306, and what that allows you to do is on your personal social media accounts to block people, whereas in the past you could not. So that's all. Thank you.
Good to know. Thank you. Councilmember Barr.
Just real quick, thank you to the folks that came out to my quarterly roundtable the other week. Had a lot of good discussions regarding our unsheltered neighbors, as well as some transportation projects in the works. I just wanted to say that the NGAC meeting this last week as well also went off really, really well. And they're going to be focusing on 3 different topic areas in the coming year: housing, civic engagement, and communication strategy. And we've got Dr. Cog meetings upcoming tomorrow night. So no other announcements for me.
Councilmember Grove.
Yeah, 2 quick ones. Many of us on City Council attended the State of the City on the 17th, where the mayor gave an update on some of the challenges and some of the accomplishments we've had over the last year, as well as what's coming up for the next year. There was quite a gathering at Hudson Gardens of our business owners, citizens, council members, people from the county. So it was a wonderful, wonderful event that we hold annually. Another event I attended was the Preservation Celebration at the Shift Works, and that was on May 18th, and it was a celebration of our history and our heritage and what we've gone through since our city was formed in 1890. We had speakers and drinks and food in between the presentations they have. And it was a wonderful celebration of our history and put on by Historic Littleton, Inc., and many of us were there. So that's it.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you. End of last month, I had the opportunity to meet with the Colorado Center for the Blind, some of their staff as well as their students, to tour the facility, to understand kind of what they experience as they're out and about in Littleton. It was fantastic, and it really opened my eyes to some things certainly we take for granted. Pardon the pun, open my eyes. But they do some immersive and experiential trainings, kind of like a day in the life of a person struggling with blindness. And they've actually offered to do one for our city council if we'd be interested. I think it fits with some of our talk about equity. And so is anyone here interested in doing something like that? It's about a 2-hour training, and they would build it around our schedules, and it would just kind of help us understand what are these folks encountering. So I'm just kind of taking a poll now, and I can get back to them. But anybody?
We can have staff reach out to council to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
With some more information. Great. Councilmember Valdez?
Thank you, Mayor. And they have done that training before, and it is worth attending. It is definitely worth it. Today is June 6th. I presume you all know that that is D-Day, Operation Overlord. people like my father who served in World War II, well, he wasn't in Normandy at that time where we lost thousands of Americans on this day. My father was in the Pacific fighting in World War II in the Pacific Theater. So I hope all of you look it up. If you don't know what Operation Overlord is, look it up, especially for the young guys. You probably haven't heard a lot about that, but it's being lost in history. It often makes news that when a police officer strikes what I call a bad guy, it makes national news repeatedly. But I wonder how many of us in this room heard about our police officer, little police officer, who was struck by a bad guy just a few days ago. Probably not a whole lot. It irritates me, that's for sure. Let's see, one last thing I have is, about a month ago, council agreed to discuss the panhandling and perhaps an ordinance that might come out of that. It's not on our calendar yet, but perhaps at some point, staff can get back to me and let me know when on the calendar that'll be. All right, great, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Milliman?
Hi, everybody. A couple of things. I, too, attended the Historic Preservation event at Shift Workspace in downtown Littleton. It was very interesting, and a lot of thanks to Historic Littleton, Inc. for putting that on. It was very informative and very entertaining. A couple things around town. If you have not seen Memphis at Town Hall Art Center, you need to buy a ticket tonight. It ends on June 17th. It was fabulous. The singing was amazing. The costumes were amazing. The storyline was amazing. Please go and support our local theater. You will not be disappointed with this play. Also, I attended Littleton Jams along with Kyle on set this past Saturday night at Stern Parkway. Oh, and I saw our new assistant city manager. So it was really, really fun. Super well attended. No rain. So much fun. Please consider going to those concerts this summer. They're free. You can bring your own food, your own drinks, but they have a food truck and drinks available for purchase as well. But super fun for everybody and a lot of dancing. I think I hurt my knee pretty bad.
Thank you. Councilmember Driscoll?
No report.
All right, I just got a few things. Councilmember Valdez stole my comment on D-Day. So it's the 79th anniversary of.
Can't be said enough.
Can't be said enough. So, yep, I echo his sentiments about all the young guys in the room to, learn about your history there. Speaking of that, last week was Memorial Day. I attended the Memorial Day services that were at the cemetery and at the World War II Memorial over at Kettering Park. It's a great event. I'd like to see more people there, council members as well. If you haven't been, I urge you to go next year. But the next time they do it is Veterans Day coming up on 11/11 at 11 o'clock. They do the exact same thing, very similar ceremony honoring all veterans on Veterans Day. Also last week was the Bridge House Ready to Work groundbreaking there. That was a good event just up the street in Windermere that we're partnering with the Tri-Cities Homeless group there with Sheridan and Inglewood and Arapahoe County, and so it was kind of a kickoff. They're going to start construction on that. Another groundbreaking or opening was ribbon cutting was the David Lorenz new regional park that South Suburban has over in City Centennial. They opened with a dog park, so I took my dogs over there and they had a good time running around. It's a beautiful dog park, beautiful big park, lots of fields. So that was a good opening there. And then tomorrow is the State of the County, which is the Arapahoe County's kind of their spiel on what's going on in the county there. Fortunately, I have a conflict with the Metro Mayor's Caucus, full caucus meeting, so I won't be able to attend, but Mayor Pro Tem Ryden is going. I don't know if any other council members are planning on going. It's over at 7:30 at the fairgrounds. As City Attorney said, June 13th, we have our Littleton Downtown Development Authority interviews, 5 p.m. before this meeting, and so I know there was a notice about the Black House ribbon cutting that was supposed to be at 5 o'clock. We just got an email that it's pushed up because it's been on our tentative calendar that we have those interviews at 5 a.m. So I urge council to check the tentative calendar. 5 p.m., Councilmember, 5 p.m. next Tuesday before this meeting. You got that? Okay. No, not 5 a.m. You can be here at 5 a.m., but, and then I also echo Councilmember Milliman's sentiments with the Little Jam. concert that was over at Stern Park. I want to thank all the staff for the effort they put in there. It's always a great event. First event, it was quite wet through most of the day, and then the skies cleared just for enough time to have the concert, and it rained a little bit after that, so it was a good one. We have the next little jam at Stern Park on July 15th, and so I hope to see more people there. Great concert. And I just want to give extra thanks to our staff, our police department, the fire department, and those at Littleton Adventist who I visited the hospital all that evening because my 12-year-old son had a battle with gravity climbing a tree, and he lost, and he broke his arm. So PD helped get the fire department there, who took good care of him, transported him over to the hospital, and got him all sorted out. So always fun to watch them resetting a bone there. That makes it kind of shiver. So, and that's all I have on my update. Turn this over here. All right. Next up, we have scheduled appearances. We have one scheduled appearance today. We have our district representative, Bruce Stallman, is coming to speak to us. And Chief, are you going to come up and introduce him? Great.
I'll just be your opening act. I'm Mike Delorfano, Chief Government Affairs Officer with South Metro Fire Rescue, 9195 East Mineral Avenue in Centennial. So thanks very much for the opportunity to just kind of introduce ourselves. It's been a while since we had a chance to update City Council, and by the looks of the audience in the room, it might be a little good to quickly update on history and how we got here today. So that's what I'm going to do.
I think they're all here for your presentation.
I think so. I had sent out some announcements, so thank you very much. And we also have a map and a kind of a sheet of facts and figures that hopefully you'll get soon if you haven't already. But South Metro has become significantly larger than when it started many years ago, due to several consolidations of fire districts and city fire departments throughout the region over the decades. And I have a good little animated map to show you in just a second. But we're about 288 square miles now, including a couple service areas, both at the top of the map for Cherry Creek State Park, and near the bottom, right next to Castle Pines, is Daniels Park. So you know you've made it when you can say that you have buffalo in your fire district. So we cover it all. We cover parts or all of 12 cities and 3 counties with 30 fire stations, the newest of which is Station 20 down in the southwest part of Highlands Ranch along Wildcat Reserve Parkway. So that brings us to about 750 employees. We've been hiring a couple academies of 30 to 40 people per year, in large part due to turnover. A lot of people are retiring, and also trying to improve our staffing on some of our apparatus. We respond to about 49,000 calls annually. So we're seeing a trend of about a 10% increase every year, which is consistent with the past, but that amounted to about 2,000 calls per year. Now that amounts to about 5,000 calls per year that we're seeing as an increase, most of those being emergency medical services. So how did we get here? So I'm going to show a map that starts all the way back into the 1890s, because now our roots reach all the way back to the formation of the city of Littleton and the fire protection that was provided back then. And as you'll see throughout the south area, there was the need for fire services in an area that was not well developed, but primarily for grass fires and emergency medical services back in the 60s and 70s. And so you had a lot of these small fire protection districts being created that really hadn't been created in Colorado before. And then as the area grew, those fire protection districts started to come together because that's what made sense to provide services throughout the area. So this only takes about 30 seconds. See the timeline there? So we got the city of Littleton back in the late 1800s. This is actually the DuPont Fire Protection District, Littleton Fire Protection District, and Castlewood and Cherry Hills, along with to the north there, the 4 square mile, and which became the Cunningham Fire District. Parker and Lockheed Martin had their own fire brigade. Lavier's Fire Protection District, And now we start to see some things come together with Littleton and the Littleton District contract. Highlands Ranch comes in the 80s. Castlewood continues to grow down the I-25 corridor, eventually merges with Leviers and becomes South Metro. The city of Aurora starts to grow and pushes down Parker to the northeast. And Cunningham, Parker, and South Metro begin to merge. And then in 2019, 2020, everything comes together. And that's how we got here today. Happy to answer any questions on that or replay it if you'd like. So we are a separate government entity, a subdivision of the state of Colorado as a fire protection district, similar to a library district, school district, South Suburban Parks and Rec, water districts, things of that nature. So we are also represented by a 7-member board of directors, and they each represent one of 7 geographical areas that have approximately the same population in each of them. So in District 4 is Bruce Stallman, who was just elected to a 4-year term, and his area is from Littleton to the west, the western boundary, which is at about Wadsworth. So without further ado, I'll introduce Bruce Stallman, which some of you may recognize from the city of Littleton. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Bruce. And I don't know how many people attend the South Metro Fire Board meetings, but you might have more people in the audience here tonight than normally, so.
Generally speaking, that would be an accurate statement. What's that?
You're a draw.
Yeah. It was, they all came to see the chief. I'm just eye candy. It's a real pleasure to see all of you again. I really appreciate the opportunity to get on the agenda and share some of the information about the district, but I really enjoy seeing you folks again. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Hit a few of the highlights on this particular slide. The call volume is increased in Littleton proper, about 1,100 calls from 2019 to 2022, and you can see on this map on the on the left side there, it's a heat map where the red and the yellow are the larger quantities of call volumes, of course, and the blue is fewer calls. So pretty much up and down Littleton Boulevard, north and south, has been an increase in call volume. As Chief said, a lot of these are EMS kind of calls and may ultimately be consistent with sort of our demographics changes over time. On the map on the lower right, in 2020, total response times on averaged about 8 minutes and 27 seconds per call. That's improved to the first quarter of this year, down to 8 minutes and 8 seconds per call on average. That indicates a small improvement, but generally stability. And stability in a time when response times are increasing with call volumes in general is not a bad outcome. Station 20, as Chief mentioned, was in South Central Highlands Ranch, opened in March of 21, and that also helps maintain response times and adds resources to prevent uncovered areas during a larger incident. Station 15 at roughly Dry Creek and University is going to be rebuilt starting in about July in order to improve firefighter health and safety from a staffing, cancer prevention, station alerting and fitness perspective, the ability to deploy resources as needed because the old bays that they have in the current facility cannot hold certain types of apparatus, and it'll be a more sustainable station hereafter. The old station, if you've ever been by it, is essentially end of life. South Metro has maintained an accredited status and what's referred to as an ISO Class 1 status after all of the mergers and consolidations that have taken place, which is an important aspect. Let me give you a little background on what ISO means. To help establish appropriate fire insurance premiums for residential and commercial properties, insurance companies need reliable, up-to-date information about a community's fire protection services. The Insurance Services Office, or ISO, provides that information through their Public Protection Classification Program. Since 1971, the ISO program has collected information on municipal fire protection efforts in communities throughout the United States. In each of these communities, ISO analyzes relevant data using their fire suppression rating schedule. A PPC is then assigned from 1 to 10. Class 1 generally represents superior property fire protection. Class 10 indicates that an area's fire suppression program doesn't meet ISO's minimum criteria. By classifying a community's ability to suppress fires, ISO helps communities evaluate their public fire protection services, and this program provides an objective, countrywide standard that helps fire departments in planning and budgeting for facilities, equipment, and training. By securing lower fire insurance premiums for communities with better public protection, the PPC program provides incentives and rewards for communities that choose to improve their firefighting services. Because most U.S. insurers of home and business properties use ISO's PPC in calculating premiums, the price of insurance in a community with good PPC, is generally lower than in a community with poor PPC, assuming all other factors are equal. The ISO rating is applied to fire departments approximately every 10 years and has extensive information on more than 47,000 fire response jurisdictions. All in, there are approximately 300 accredited fire departments worldwide and approximately 400 ISO 1 fire departments. 13 of that grouping are both accredited in ISO 1, and there are 13 that serve at least or more than 500,000 people, including South Metro Fire Rescue. And essentially, the conclusion to that is that it validates the Littleton Fire merger with South Metro. LFR, I don't recall as being accredited, and I think we were something like ISO 3 or some such thing. So by merging, the decision to merge as a good one is promoted by council at the time, and certainly is validated by the fact that we're now part of an organization that is an accredited ISO 1 organization that keeps insurance premiums as low as possible for citizens and our business community. Let's see here. Okay, one of the other aspects that South Metro is working on over time is how do we morph, and I say we collectively. I sit at a dais with you like we always did and let the folks who know what they're doing do what they do with appropriate oversight. But one of the things from an operational perspective that's important is to shift and consider where the service needs to be, certainly today, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And that vision needs to be planned on today, and it's a very important attribute of what the organization does and how they perform at a world-class level. an example of this is something called the Public Health Program. And let me give you a little bit of background on this. In recent years, literature suggests that nearly 40% of EMS calls include non-emergent or psychosocial complaints that did not require physical treatment. The unintended consequence is an increase in calls for service, neither of which the fire service nor the emergency rooms are equipped to handle in an efficient, effective manner, thereby increasing costs for everybody. South Metro has identified three main populations that utilize 911 for non-emergent calls, such as folks aging in place, mental health and substance use disorders, and those experiencing homelessness. These populations lack resources and support within the district, and we believe that in bridging the gap between needed resources and those identified populations, we'll reach our goal of decreasing the number of 911 calls that are non-emergency in nature. So the public health program combines a community paramedic and a community clinician, licensed social worker, who integrate essential physical and mental health resources across 3 different counties. These services will improve the quality of life for individuals in need of resources by partnering with public and private agencies in order to increase care and necessary services as appropriate. One of the other aspects of what we're doing, or a couple other aspects, are just examples up on the slide here. There's a point of care ultrasound equipment is being deployed with the ability to get more accurate view of heart and lung conditions to improve diagnosis and receive more accurate and timely intervention in emergency rooms. This has been used in CPR cases, chronic heart conditions, COVID, and it's being expanded into other areas. It's been recognized by Congressional Fire Services Institute for Excellence in Fire-Based EMS Services. And on the right is some equipment that was just purchased in partnership with Centennial Airport to provide an aircraft rescue training simulator and some additional specialty trucks that are now in service at Centennial for purposes of improving the skill sets of the fire stations in that area, in that vicinity, as much as possible. And then the folks at the airport in terms of preparedness for potential aircraft crash that would require people to know make sure they get in a hurry and do the best they can to extricate people and triage and so forth. Okay. And that is, oh, yes, one other one. You're all invited, everyone's invited, to the annual South Metro Fire and Rescue annual remembrance ceremony on the 24th of June at 11 a.m. at the East Mineral Office headquarters, where folks who have fallen in the line of duty in the fire service will be honored and remembered, as is certainly appropriate. You want to add anything to that? Okay. And that is our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions, Council? Councilmember Driscoll.
Sure.
Mike.
Thanks, Bruce.
Sure.
And Mike. Before you joined Bruce, we had talked about setting up some type of memorial for the Littleton Fire Department, and that was thought of maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And just wondering, I'm not sure if you're aware of that and if there's been any movement on creating something that can be, remember the past firefighters in Littleton.
I was not aware of that, but I'm. Yeah, Mike, you need to come up here into the microphone because it's being recorded.
Yes, sorry, I'm not aware of that background, but we'll take a look and get back to you very soon.
That'd be great, thanks.
We have added all the names of the previous organizations to the wall that we'll be remembering on the 24th.
Any other questions, council? Thank you so much. Thanks for coming down, Bruce.
No, thank-
Congratulations on your election.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
All right, next up on the agenda, we have mayoral proclamations. I am going to adjust the order of these for two reasons. One, I want to have police follow fire directly so they can do more battle head-to-head in an agenda. And two, I want the hockey players to hear this so they don't leave after their proclamation here. So this is a proclamation of the city of Littleton, Colorado, in recognition of Corporal Jeff Farmer. Whereas on the evening of September 20th, 2021, Corporal Farmer took rapid action to save the life of a fellow officer who had been grievously wounded in the line of duty. Persevering through his own injuries and under grave threat to his own life, Corporal Farmer displayed courage, poise, and loyalty to his fellow officer. And whereas the Medal of Valor is awarded by the President of the United States to public safety officers who have exhibited exceptional courage regardless of personal safety in the attempt to save or protect others from harm. And whereas Corporal Farmer was bestowed the Medal of Valor in Washington, D.C. by President Joseph R. Biden on May 17, 2023. And whereas since the first Medal for Public Safety Officers was awarded June 2000 by President Bill Clinton, Corporal Farmer is the first recipient of the state of Colorado. Whereas Corporal Farmer's actions on that night serve as an example of the courage and dedication officers in Littleton and across the nation demonstrate nearly every day. Now, therefore, I, Kyle Schlachter, Mayor of the City of Littleton, do hereby recognize Corporal Jeff Farmer for his courageous actions and further extend appreciation to our Littleton Police Department for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the community. Chief Stevens, do you want to say anything? I'm afraid to offer that, but I figured you're here. You never pass up a chance to get on the mic.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Jeff, we're just so proud of you. Tremendous act. Thank you for recognizing Corporal Farmer. His actions on that day, saving the life of Officer David Snook, who was shot multiple times by an assailant. Jeff exemplified everything that's pure and heroic about our profession, about our department, and about the Littleton community. So we're just all very proud of him. So another round of applause for Jeff. And I can't leave the microphone without taking a shot at my fire buddies. So on your map, Chief, when you had the start of the fire department, did you miss the part where you guys fashioned your own Barca loungers out of wood? And then as it progressed, now they're leather and have electric and everything. So, yeah, next time. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. All right. Moving on. A proclamation of the City of Littleton, Colorado in recognition of the Littleton Hockey Association for the 2022-2023 youth hockey season. Whereas the Littleton Hockey Association is home to two 2023 Tier 2 USA Hockey National Champion titles, earned by their 16U and 14U teams who participate in both the Central States Development Hockey League and the Colorado Competitive Youth Hockey League. And whereas 14U AA CSDHL major team swept the competition during playoff season, taking home a CCM championship title with a 6-0 record. an LHA Thanksgiving Tournament Championship with a 7-0 record, and a Central States Development League title with a 24-3-1 season record, Colorado State Championship with a 6-0 record, and a USA National Championship title with a 6-0 record. 86 games were played, 78 wins, 7 losses, 1 tie, scoring 521 goals, taking a whopping 3,378 shots. Every game that this team had a full roster was won. This award-winning team was led by coaches Jason Gour, Harry Golden, Dylan Whalen, and Joey Pontiff, and team manager Paul Mikowski. And whereas 16U CSDHL team played 69 games with 60 wins, 7 losses, and 2 ties, winning 33 games in a row at one point. They won the Littleton Thanksgiving Tournament, the Mid-Atlantic Invite-Only Showcase, and went undefeated in the AHF Showcase Series Tournament. They went 6-0 in the 2023 Tier 2 USA Hockey National Championship to take home the title. Head coach Cole Fletcher, along with his childhood teammates, coaches William Barber, Josh Fiegel, and Brendan Karlstrom, led the team. The team boasted multiple 100-point players, both goaltenders with sub-2 goals against average, and every player on the team with goals throughout the season. The team was dedicated to being the best conditioned team, and it showed while coming from behind and winning every third period on the national stage. And now, therefore, I, Kyle Schlechter, Mayor of the City of Littleton, do hereby recognize the Littleton Hockey Association for an award-winning 2022-2023 youth hockey season. And I'd like to invite the players to come up here in front of the dais to get a photo with your proclamation.
Mayor, I think the coaches want to say something.
If the coaches want to see something first, yeah, coaches come on up, and then we'll have the players come up.
First, thank you, council members, Mayor Schlechter. These guys don't like to talk. These are the coaches. I'm just, the pretty face. So thank you. I'm stealing it. So thank you for the recognition. Littleton's in their 60th year as the Littleton Hawks, working with the city, the government, in the community. We're extremely proud to have this honor. And the coaches, thank you for everything that you guys have done. And again, thank you for this honor.
Thank you. And you do know the city attorney has a couple of youth in the farm system there, so maybe we'll see them in the national championship.
Nice hat.
All right, come on up, gentlemen.
There we go. Thank you.
Hold on, 1 second, stay there. I was getting the top of her head. Thank you.
So we'll just let the hockey players exit if they want. I assume they don't want to sit here through the rest of the meeting, but it looks like they're making their way to the door.
I got it, Doug.
Oh, you got it, Doug? Okay.
Next up on the agenda, item 7, public comment. Seems we have lost a few people in that, the changeover there, the line change. If you wish to address City Council under public comment, please sign in on the speaker form before the meeting. Public comment's an opportunity to express opinions, thoughts, praise regarding issues that are not part of tonight's public hearings on the agenda. Separate opportunity will be provided for any public hearing. We don't have any public hearings tonight. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. I'll let you know when you approach the 3 minutes. Ask everyone to be civil with their comments. Be quiet when other people are talking. City Council is not authorized to, under Colorado open meeting laws, to discuss, comment, or take action at this meeting on any issue raised by public comment that is not part of tonight's agenda. I may refer matters to the acting city manager or city attorney for immediate comment, or to staff to get further information from back to council. We got 4 people signed up on the list tonight. Call up if you please introduce yourself with your address. First up, JD McCrum. Turns out everyone in the audience was not here to see your public comment. JD, sorry.
Their loss. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is JD McCrum. I live in District 2 on Hickory Street, but tonight I'm here on behalf of the Town Hall Arts Center organization. In addition to thanking Councilwoman Milliman for her praise of the Memphis show, of which we are immensely proud, I have 3 specific things I just wanted to state to you and for the record. The first is we at Town Hall Arts Center want to extend our thanks and our praise to the City of Littleton, and specifically the Littleton Police Department, for their support and service during our recent run of La Cage des Folles. That was a performance that we were excited to produce and offer to our community, but also knew that there was some potential concerns with the topics and the style of performance, and so the City of Littleton Police Department came in and served our patrons and our audience and our talent in the most exceptional and professional manner. I'm thrilled to say there were no incidences to report at all, but we did want to publicly express our thanks to the police department and to the city for that support. Second, we on Saturday, June 24th, will be hosting our next Ovation Gala. We hope that you'll be able to join us, but specifically I want to extend our thanks to the city for the support of that, specifically Public Works, City Clerk's Office, Planning, Police Department. There have been a number of communications. All of those departments have been very involved and engaged. We couldn't have done it without them. Fire, if they were still here as well. So we appreciate the support and look forward to that event as well. Hopefully the weather will cooperate as it did for the Little Jam concert this past week. The third thing that we wanted to present to you tonight is our support for the East Community Center. As it was presented to you a couple weeks ago, we are very excited to come alongside Littleton Public Schools and offer programming in that facility as it's been presented. As you consider what the right model for the city is, please know that at least on the behalf of our organization, Littleton Public Schools has done a phenomenal job of outreach and invitation to be engaged throughout the process as to what the right model is for that space. And speaking on behalf of our organization, the presentation as it was shared with you is the right model for us to come alongside and offer programming to that community and in that space. So we just wanted to vocalize our support for that, our thanks to you for everything you do on behalf of the board and the staff and the patrons of Town Hall Arts Center. Thank you.
Thank you. And it was a great show. I attended the Cage des Folles. Next up is Chris Jones.
Right, hello, fellow citizens of Littleton. Do I give my address? Or does that matter?
Address your
Address?
district.
Okay, yeah, but I'm at 5662 South Cedar Street. And I'm here today because I want to live in a nice place. But the neighborhood is getting worse. A couple of days ago, in front of my house, I saw some criminal punch a cop and run. Day before that, some deranged vagrant out of nowhere starts screaming at me obscenities, threatening violence. He might be the same guy, but on my block, in front of the restaurant, on the sidewalk, he's been staying and sleeping for days. The problem is getting worse. Does it have to be like that? We don't have to go far to see examples of nice places. Cherry Hills, Cherry Creek, Highlands Ranch, what makes them different? Well, they have government that supports the police in enforcing some simple laws: littering, trespassing, panhandling. Vagrancy can be stopped. An example, analogy, a simple one, but imagine you have an ant problem. So you contract the Tri-Cities Ant Coalition to address it. Give them lots of money, and they come to your house and sprinkle sugar around. And so your ant problem grows. So you bring them back, give them more money, they sprinkle more sugar, and the ants come from miles around. Your problem grows. It's a simple analogy, but it's not like we have armies of Will Smith's character in Pursuit of Happiness that are causing our problems. Is this going to change here? I don't think so, not in Littleton. If we keep electing the Democrats, and Democrat policies throughout cities are getting the same results. I struggle, after the event, I'm thinking about the police and how are we going to attract members like Officer Farmer if every day they got to get up and deal with this growing problem that they're supposed to deal with, but they're not allowed to stop it. And if we quit wasting resources on these able-bodied street campers, we might have more money to help that lady that's walking around the neighborhood screaming all day. She's not doing well in the community, in that community setting. So thank you for your time, and hope everybody has a great night.
Thank you. Next up, we have Cheryl Espinoza. Ms. Espinoza, it looks like you signed up to speak about the Quick Trip.
I did.
I'll let you know that this is going not before City Council, but before Planning Commission, so.
I know,
So I
but
would,
I still want to get in front of you even though it's early in the process. Is that appropriate?
well, so it's a quasi judicial setting for Planning Commission. And any comments you make now, if anything's appealed to City Council, we cannot consider anything that you say tonight.
Okay,
So,
so it would be not appropriate.
correct.
Okay, okay. They
And
have,
I would urge you to go to the Planning Commission meeting when they have their public hearing and go into speaking to them when they hear this subject.
Okay,
Would be the
so-
appropriate time.
okay, because they have submitted their application
Mhm.
for the Dry Creek proposals.
Correct, and it's going through the process right there, and there will be a public meeting and a public hearing where the Planning Commission members are the ones that will make the decision on that, and that's the venue to speak to them, so they may consider your comments and opinions.
Oh, it doesn't come before you?
It does not in this process. If it's appealed, it will, but that's a separate process, and we would not be able to consider comments that you make tonight as part of our decision at that point. If it were to come to us, it may or may not.
Okay, all right.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Pam Chadbourne.
Hi, City Council. My name is Pam Shepard. I live a block and a half from here. So first, I'm going to make a complaint. Last Tuesday morning at 1 in the morning, Denver Water had a permit to do concrete sawing at Prince and Church. I'm pretty sure that was audible pretty much a good quarter-mile radius from that area. We live in a river valley, and sound in river valleys carries. They said that's when the permit was issued. I'm going to say, I'm sorry, but there's got to be a different time and a better time to do concrete sawing with that kind of noise than 1:30 a.m. on a work night. That is not right for the community. I'm going to complain about it. I didn't get any of the information or excuses, but I think there must be a better time and way. Second, I want to talk about the ULUC changes, which just closed, and I'm going to say they're illegitimate. On March 28th, City Council at a study session was brought 2 pages of UGraphs. There were 10 bullet points. 6 were topic areas for changes, and 4 were future topic areas, and there were no specifics about them. And it, again, was a study session with no public comment. And then on April 24th, suddenly at another study session, no public comment, community development showed up to teach planning commissioners how to make entries online to the Uncode system on the language of the code. In between the time of the 10 bullet points and telling planning commissioners how to make changes to the code, there was no description of what these changes were. Who proposed them? Why are they being made? What are the pros and cons? And what good to the city are they going to result in? What are the impacts of the changes? What do we get out of them, and what do they cost? Now, I'm going to say in a basic change process, and I've been involved in this work for my professional career. When I was a baby engineer, I actually got to sit on a change review board. And there is a professional standard of practice for this, and our city is not following it, and especially considering when this is public process, this is illegitimate. It's also unprofessional and unacceptable. I do not regard the ULUC changes online as appropriate or legitimate. And I want to be on record saying that. That process was wrong. There was no justification for the proposed changes. They are not minor administrative. The city is having trouble keeping planners. And you know why? Because when the code was changed, there was no assessment of the impact of the work, traffic or impact on the city, but also on the city staff. And now the load is too high. That's Mark Relf and the councils who
Thank you,
approved
Pam.
it. Thanks for your consideration.
I just wanted to follow up, Pam, on that, we heard from residents about the cutting, and the Public Works Director approved that at night because of the time constraints with shutting off water during the day, and rather than having a water shut off for an extended period of time during the day when more people are using it, the nighttime for one night was thought to be the appropriate time to do that. So I'm sorry it caused a disturbance, but it was going to cause a disturbance no matter when. Anybody else wish to speak during public comment tonight? Seeing no one, we will move on. Item 8 is consent agenda items. Consent agenda items can be adopted by a simple motion. All ordinances must be read by title prior to a vote on the motion. Any consent agenda item may be removed at the request of a council member. We have item A, Resolution 54 of 2023, approving an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with Denver Water Department to allow for storm drainage outlets into the Highline Canal near Euclid Avenue and maintenance of the canal upstream and downstream to Broadway. B is Ordinance 10 of 2023, an ordinance on first reading amending Ordinance 2023, Series 2022, known as the Annual Appropriation Bill for all municipal purposes of the City of Littleton, Counties of Arapahoe, Douglas, and Jefferson, State of Colorado, for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2023, ending December 31st, 2023. Item C is ID 23-119, a motion to cancel City Council's study sessions of June 27th, 2023, and July 11th, 2023. Item D, ID 23-125, a motion to approve minutes of May 16th, 2023, regular meeting of the City Council. Is there a
Mayor,
motion?
move to approve the consent agenda items A through D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items A through D. Any discussion, council? Seeing none, I'll open the voting.
The vote is 7 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Next up, item 9, general business. We have one item, general business. This is a resolution 55, 2023, resolution supporting the Federal Homes for Every Local Protector, Educator, and Responder, or HELPER Act. Council, you may remember that if, not quite a year ago, I think probably 7 or 8 months ago, we had this before us before. With the new Congress, this act has been introduced once again, and a activist has reached out, asked us to support this. Lots of other cities have supported it. It's a bipartisan bill. It's been introduced, so it's just basically is to provide financial assistance for educators and first responders in purchasing homes. It's just no action or funds required by the city of Littleton, just to say that we support this. That goes towards our housing goals. I don't know if acting city manager has anything else to add, or any of the assistant city managers, but nope, nothing to add. Does council have any questions? Councilmember Valdez.
HR 3170 wasn't included in our package, so I'm hoping that all city council members had a chance to go online and find it, which was not an easy thing to find. So I'm assuming all 7 of us read that. I'm not in favor of this at all. This is something that, first of all, it does help police and first responders benefit.
If you have any questions, now it's time for questions. We get a
sorry.
motion on, then you can say your piece.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
great. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. I don't have it in front of me, so maybe someone else has to make a motion.
Mayor,
All right.
I
I'm
move
gonna
to
vote-
approve Resolution 55-2023, supporting the Homes for Every Local Protector, Educator, and Responder, the HELPER Act.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Brett and a second by Councilmember Barr. Any comments? Councilmember Valdez?
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I jumped the gun on you. Again, I'm assuming that all council members actually read every page of this thing. It's not necessarily a short thing. But again, I realize it does help police and first responders, and I'm all for that, 100%. It helps them with low-interest loans and things like that for first-time buyers. But HR 3170, with the exception of private school teachers, K through 12th grade, this bill is essentially for only government employees. It isn't for private citizens, other than, I said, like private schools, teachers. Also, as I mentioned the last time we talked about this thing, the ethnicity of this bill also concerns me. You know, we have often discussed systemic racism within our laws and things like this. This essentially, for teachers at least, about 80% of the teachers across the country are white. So this is essentially a bill for white teachers, for first-time home buyers. That concerns me. You know, that it should be for everybody. There are many loans available out there. There's FHA, VA, SDA, SDDA, Freddie Mac, Freddie May, and they either have 0 down payment or very low down payments toward the house. I'm certainly not against teachers. My brother's a teacher, 3 of my nephews are teachers, you know, they're all, and they do well. But there are just, I am just discouraged by this, that this council, again, I'm assuming you all read it. I haven't heard anybody actually talk about it. But there are so many loans available out there. The federal government and state has availability also for assistance. I think this is just one more thing that our legislators back east are kowtowing to a certain group of people. And if you haven't read it, you shouldn't be voting. Because if you read it, you might see it a little differently. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? See none, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? Vote for is approving the resolution, supporting the act. Vote against is not supporting the resolution.
The vote is 6 in favor, with Councilmember Valdez voting no. The motion carries.
Thank you. All right, item 10 is ordinances on second reading, public hearing. We have none. Last up, adjournment. With no further business conduct, we are adjourned at 7:31.